I am so embarrassed by Donald Trump, and it seems like even Republicans are as well. This guy is their leader. The people constantly talking about how strong they are, which, by the way, is the biggest bag of bullshit I've ever seen. These people are fundamentally weak, pretending that a guy in severe cognitive and physical decline is their tough guy, dear leader. It is embarrassing. And the right has to constantly cover for Donald Trump's clear decline. That is what happened today when a MAGA host had to cut away from Donald Trump speaking because the inarticulate, weird rambling was just too much and they had to protect their viewers. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into a MAGA host cutting away from Trump, I want to start with why they had to, and it's because the batshit crazy stuff like this that he was saying.
And honestly, if you had another like Kamala, I don't know where the hell she came from, but if you had Kamala, I was right. Against Biden, I went up by 29 points. All of a sudden, they take him out. It's like a fighter. He's losing the fight. They replace him in the middle of the fight. They gave me a new one. They gave me Kamala. I went from Joe to Kamala. But if she got in, I don't think there'd be nobody in this room. You wouldn't be doing anything. You'd be elsewhere doing things. And wouldn't be the same. But you have a great partner now in the United States getting you started, and you will have everything done very, very quickly. Record time, as fast as, I think, much faster than maybe any other country, other than China. Because in China, you have a good system also. You have a system where President Xi can approve it immediately. So that's even faster. He doesn't have to wait 2 weeks. I have to wait 2 weeks. But you do go quickly there, but we have a lot of advantages, as you know, since the election.
Let's make it clear what Donald Trump is praising right now is he's praising a man who he calls president for life. That is what Donald Trump wants. What he respects about the system that China has is that it's an authoritarian system of government. That is what Donald Trump wants. Now, let's stop pretending or allowing the right to shape this narrative that Donald Trump talking about a third term is just them joking and having some fun. J.D. Vance is the least charismatic guy I've ever seen in my entire life. This dude's a squish. He's a loser. His wife can't stand him. They're probably getting a divorce. So, of course, Republicans are panicking and saying, oh, my God, we have no bench. Because what is whiny-ass voice Ron DeSantis going to do it with his little heels? No. They know that if it's Gavin Newsom, if it's AOC, if it's Tim Walz, they're getting fucking shellacked. And Donald Trump also is incredibly unpopular, but at least they have the cult-like commitment to him. So what they want to do is make him president for life. They do want to rig the midterms. They do want to invoke martial law and say, well, we're in a war with Venezuela. How could we possibly hold elections? And Putin said the mail-in ballots are bad. We have to take this seriously. If we don't, they will continue to lie. They will continue to push the envelope. They'll continue to make us numb to it all, which they have, and then we're going to fall into it. Authoritarianism isn't creeping up upon us. It is here right now. And Donald Trump is going to try to force it by telling lies like this.
Before, and we had 4 great years. You know, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country, but we're blowing it away this time, to be honest with you. We're blowing it. We had 4 great years. As you know, we had the 1-year deduction. I call it the 1-year little deduction, like you can deduct every single thing, and nobody ever thought that was possible. That beats 38 years, right? But now we did it for a period of 10 years instead of a period of 1 year. It's much stronger. And you can deduct structures. And for the people, you have no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security.
First of all, aside from the fact that that was idiotic, incoherent, and just straight up not true, Donald Trump didn't have the greatest economy of all time. This economy right now is horrible. I see reporting every day that if it wasn't for the explosion of what, in my opinion, is kind of an AI bubble with these data centers sucking up water, draining our natural resources, exploding your energy cost, by the way. If it wasn't for those data centers and the AI boom, America would be in a recession. Like we are losing GDP right now. That number is lower than it was last year. If you take out these data centers, if you take out all the AI goop, which only makes money for like 4 people, and that's it, our economy is not good. It is shrinking. It is scary. And it's only benefiting the wealthiest. And so Donald Trump, trying to spin up his lies and nonsense about how successful he is, yeah, it's not really landing, right now, so much so that even MAGA is embarrassed of Donald Trump. Why do you think the Republicans are shutting down the government right now, besides the fact, of course, that they want to protect pedophiles and they want to hurt you fundamentally? That's what they want to do, is because they don't want you to see them. They want to hide. And this is what MAGA is literally doing for Trump.
In some of the yards, we have some great yards. You know, the United States was #1 during World War II, #1 in the world in shipbuilding by far. We would produce a ship a day. Can you believe it? A ship a day, you know, freighters and this and that, but some big ones too, some great warships. And we just let that, our leadership, the person standing right where I am numerous years ago, a number of them, they just let it.
Good morning. You have been watching President Trump address business leaders there in Tokyo, Japan, live. It's just past 8 p.m. there.
No, let's take stock of this for a second. If you quite literally have to hide your guy, if you quite literally have to cover up what is being said by dear leader Trump, is he really delivering the message? Is it really landing? If Newsmax is cutting away from Donald Trump's speech, which is usually like the primetime viewing for them, why is that? We've been seeing this more and more often where Fox or Newsmax, OAN, they'll like play Trump in the background, but they won't let you hear his voice because it's increasingly slurred words. But why do you think that they're doing that? It's because they even understand how weak and ineffective and pathetic he is. They had this narrative for a while, the right did, that Donald Trump was this inevitable figure, that he was all powerful, that he was always going to win. Donald Trump has lost 95% of the lawsuits that have come up against him in this administration. Donald Trump loses special election after special election. He's about to lose in New York City, where his corporate donors have spent millions of dollars trying to help the sex pest that is Andrew Cuomo defeat Zohran Mamdani, who is the real future of the Democratic Party, people like Zohran. So Donald Trump's going to lose there. He's losing a lot, right? He's really weak. He needs his billionaire oligarchs to hold him up and support him. It's why Larry Ellison is buying TikTok. It's why Donald Trump's allowing that to happen, why he's making that happen so that he can have the support of all of the algorithms from Zuck, from Ellison, TikTok, from Musk, of course, because Donald Trump is weak. Do you think Jeff Bezos would need to buy the Washington Post and fire anyone who says any bad word about Donald Trump if he was actually successful, if he was actually tough? This guy is weak right now. So let's stop with this idea that Donald Trump is just going to steamroll all of us and we should just fall in line and we've kind of already lost and why even fight and why even bother and strongly worded letter. No, the man is a fucking loser. He's always been. And we are stronger than him. We are better than him. We are better organized than he is. And we can actually put dents in this presidency. We can. Bit by bit, we can continue to blow up his term. And Rachel Maddow talked about the importance of doing so, being out in community, being out protesting, in this clip right here.
Nothing is inevitable. The American people and institutions in this country get a say into how far he's going to be able to go. And sometimes protest is the most important lever in determining what institutions and powerful people themselves are willing to do, regardless of what Trump wants. I will say, for example, it's not within Trump's power to remove a late-night comedian from the air for criticizing him, right? Trump can't do that unilaterally. He needs the company that employs that comedian. He needs the other companies involved in that business to effectively act for him once he starts complaining about that comedian and saying that guy ought to not be on the air. When Trump pressures companies to do his bidding in a case like that, oftentimes those companies will just cave and do what Trump tells them to do. But oftentimes, those companies will also be susceptible to pressure from the people to not do what Trump wants. Also, Trump's chaotic, lawless deportation spree, right? He can't do it alone. Trump tried at first doing it all with military planes. Remember how hilarious that was? He had like huge C-17 cargo planes. Those can carry 77 tons of troops and equipment. And Trump was flying C-17s around with like 5 people on board in the back because he thought that would look tough. Dude, we're paying for that plane. You got 5 guys on board. Now, he needs contractors to participate in this, like, say, Avello Airlines, to volunteer to provide deportation flights, because they're excited to make money off of ICE, to make money off of Trump's deportations. And that is, of course, Avello's right to compete for contracts like that. But then, you know, if you want to just say you're going to spray some Febreze around and unhook the shackles and then try to sell the American flying public on also buying seats on those same planes for their vacation flight to Cancun or whatever, after you've been using them to deport people in Trump's utterly lawless, chaotic, shambolic deportation regime. Well, you know, the people of this country are going to have something to say about that too, which Avello is now learning with every look at their bottom line. For every Avello Airlines, for every Paul Weiss law firm and all the other law firms that did corrupt deals with Trump, for every corporation, like our parent company for another hot minute, Comcast, that wants to pay for Trump to take a literal wrecking ball, an excavator to the White House, those public-facing companies should know there's a cost in terms of their reputation with the American people. There may be a cost to their bottom line when they do things against American values, against the public interest, because they want to please Trump or buy him off or profit somehow from his authoritarian overthrow of our democracy. Protest may or may not move Donald Trump himself, although these people at Trump Tower in New York this weekend were doing their best to try to make sure that it does. But even if protest doesn't move Trump directly, it constrains his power by moving the public-facing, consumer-facing people and entities that he has to enlist in what he's trying to do. I, for example, will be quite surprised if Maryland's Democratic Governor Wes Moore does not end up ripping up that state's contract with Avello Airlines, right? If he doesn't, he's going to be answering to Maryland voters about that forever. In Chicago, the protests and the community reaction against Trump's immigration agents in that city have taken on now almost an epic scale.
We have to be out there fighting. We have to be showing people that this government is ours and that Donald Trump is not our supreme ruler. And that is why we will be talking about that every single day on this show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.